Barakateh Hawa, Barakateh Hawa Shai. Today's lesson is going to be scriptures that are broken down wrong. And the scripture that I want to focus on today is in the book of Luke, the 21st chapter and the 24th verse. It's a controversial scripture, and, I heard a brother recently go into it, and, he just briefly spoke on it, but he had broke it down wrong. And I just want to, correct, bring the right, correct breakdown on it. And this is the book of Luke 21 and 24. It says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And the brother said that this is speaking about he said it's speaking about the Israelite foreigners. It's not speaking about the Israelite foreigners. I understand why the brother said it, because there's another scripture that sounds similar to this in the book of Romans, which the Lord's will, that'll be the next one here. For I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part has happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. And it sounds similar to the other one. So Lord's will, in the next lesson, I'll do Romans 11:25. But this here, when it says, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. This began during the time of the siege of 70 AD, when the Flavian dynasty, under the orders of Vespasian, with the Alexander Tiberius Julius, Julius Tiberius Alexander, which was a Jew, so-called Negro general that was appointed by Vespasian to go and fight this war and put this rebellion down, because he had put many rebellions down in Alexandria and other places. And he had Jake pretty much take down Jake, in Jerusalem. That whole siege was set up by him, and the takedown of Israel in 70 AD was done by him. And Titus was next to him, but Titus was very inexperienced. So this is the beginning of the fulfillment of this scripture here. So when we fell as a nation in 70 AD, from that point on, the other nations took over our land, because it says, in Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles. This right here is not dealing with Israel per se, the people, even though sometimes when you read about Jerusalem, it's speaking about the people of Israel, the people. This is actually dealing with the land, and it was trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Now there's a map, there's a map. I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but there's a map that shows how that the land of Israel today, especially Jerusalem, are split up into 4 different quarters, and they actually have more than that, but those are the main 4 quarters. Here we go. Here you got the Christian quarter, the Muslim quarter, the Armenian quarter, and the Jewish quarter, which the Armenians, they are Israelites, but this is how Jerusalem is broken up, in among these four sets of people, and then there's other people like the Palestinians. They're not Israelites, they're Ishmaelites. You have other different nations that are in there. You have Ishmael, you have all the nations are there. You have Moabites that are calling themselves Israelites, you have Ammonites that are calling themselves Israelites, so on and so forth. You have Hamites that are in that land, the Philistia Jews. So that's what this scripture is dealing with, that Jerusalem shall be trodden down of heathen of the other nations until the times of the other nations be fulfilled, meaning until the time of their kingdom is expired. When it's time for them to go down, that's when this scripture is going to be fully fulfilled. Now this is this book of Ezekiel 36:1. Also, thou son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel, and say, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Shai. Thus saith the Lord power, because the enemy have said against you, aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession. So this is dealing with the other nations taking over our land, but especially beginning with Esau, because he's our number one enemy. and they're the ones that feel within themselves that they should get this land because we stole their birthright from them, so they still embittered by that, because they should have gotten all the blessings that we're getting. But when you go spiritually into it, the Lord wanted Israel to get all of those blessings and possessions and all that, because the Lord loves the nation of Israel. And that's just that, and if you can't accept it, that's tough. It says, therefore prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord power, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that you might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen. See, so you could apply this to Israel, as a people, but it's also it's primarily dealing with the land, because these heathens have taken over, and possessed, our inheritance, which is the land of Israel. And you are taken up in the lips of talkers, because Jake, they're talking shit about Jake, and are in infamy of the people and talking down about Jake. It says, therefore, ye mountains of Israel, but that's all going to change. Therefore, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus saith the Lord power to the mountains and to the hills and to the rivers and to the valleys, to the desolate waste and to the cities that are forsaken, which became a prey and a derision to the residue of the heathen that are round about. And then all these nations have taken it. So this was the fulfillment, or the beginning of that prophecy being fulfilled. That's why it says that the Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. It says, and are in infamy of the people. Therefore, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Most High. Thus saith the Lord power to the mountains and to the hills, the rivers and the valleys, to the desolate waste, and to the cities that are forsaken, which became a prey to the derision to the residue of the heathen that are round about. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen. That's all these different nations, and against all Idumea, which appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful mind to cast it out for a prey. And that's what they did, So back then, this took place, when the Assyrians and the Babylonians kicked us out of the land. They took possessions of that. But then during the time when we got back into the land, because, we kept going back and forth to the land. But then when we got back to the land, during the time of the Romans finally put an end to Israel. They called it a Jewish state, but it's not, it's not Jewish. It's the Israelite land. It's the land of the Israelites, the countries of the Israelites. And from that point on, that's when they fully took us down, and we've never been back to that land ever since. It says, prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains and to the hills, to the rivers and to the valleys, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I have spoken in my jealousy and in my fury, because you have borne the shame of the heathen. Therefore thus saith the Lord power, I have lifted up mine hand, surely the heathen that are round about you, they shall bear their shame. And eventually in process of time, that's what's going to happen. Ezekiel 35:10, because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas Yahweh was there. So that was dealing with Esau, because they were the first ones up in there. Joel 3:1, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, meaning when the Lord frees us up from this captivity, I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among among the nations, and parted my land. And pretty much that just goes to show you that this scripture in Luke 21:24 is dealing with the actual heathen, the actual nations taking possession of our land, and pretty much, unto this day they're still there. So it's going to take Yahushua to come back, the missiles to destroy that land, and Israel to be set, the real Israelites to be set back up into power to get that land back. So Lord's will, in the next lesson I'll go over Romans 11:25 to show you what this means. They're worded similar, but they're two different things. So this is a matter of knowing when to decipher when it's speaking about the other nations, or when it's speaking about the nation of Israel being called Gentiles or heathens or uncircumcision. All right, so with that, I hope you brothers have been edified. Until the next time, I say shalom.